funny. Funny to see Mr. Reeves in this role. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen, William Sadler.
Out to 5. It's so fun to see it again. Yeah, 30 years ago. The little family, the English family at the end, they're sitting over there behind the scale. Yeah, so I don't think I've seen it in. I haven't sat through the last whole thing. It's so long. It's good. I love this special
So why the German accent?
Czechoslovakian.
Czechoslovakian. How did that play?
I did a play in New York with an actor named Jan Triskin, who is Czechoslovakian, and everything he said was like this. It was just funny. You could read the phone book, and it was funny. I just stole it. I completely stole it. I did it I auditioned for the role back in 1990, and I did the accent. I actually called them up and said, I'm going to do this. I want to do an accent. And the casting people said, ooh, maybe you probably shouldn't, but I did anyway. And then they went around. They went through a lot of people. They were looking for someone like. I think they talked to Christopher Lee from the old Hammer movies, you know, skinny faced, you know, someone scary and old like that. I think they talked to Christopher Lloyd. And they went around. They were looking. Finally, I got a phone call about 2 weeks later from the casting lady, Karen Ray, and she said, "Go to a Halloween store, get some gray and put it in your hair, black out your teeth. You need to come in and do the audition again, but they think you're too young." And I thought, well, that's gonna look like wow. And I had just done Die Hard 2. I called the makeup man on Die Hard 2, Scott Edo, and told him my problem, and he said, wow. He happened to be in town. I went to sat in his kitchen at 7 a.m. On the day of the audition, he made me look like a believable, camera-ready 70-year-old guy. Almost. And then I got in the car and drove to Orion and did the audition again, and we're done. And apparently on my way out of the audition, some of the producers said, you know, he looks so much older in person.
Well, thank you for doing this tonight. It was fantastic.
Thank you. That was fun.
Yeah, well, I just thought it was a Seventh Seal kind of reference. I thought that.
Well, the games were a 7th Sea. I'm sure that was intentional.
Yeah.
That was the writers.
Yeah.
That these idiots would want to twist her. Which, by the way, was the very first thing we shot. The very first day of filming. First day, first scene, first time I'd had the makeup on. The whole game sequence. So, no pressure at all.
So it looks like you only had one scene with George Carlin. Is that true? Or was he on set more often?
I only personally had the one scene. At the end, it was there.
Did you get to spend any time with him?
But I did get to know him. I mean, we did hang out. In fact, I write and sing songs too. And I gave him a cassette of my songs. Because he was just the sweetest guy. I mean, he's very funny, but when he's not on, he's just lovely, you know, bright, and charming, and sweet. And then years and years and years later, I had a phone call. I and it's 20 years later or something like that, I get a phone call from, "Hi, this is George Carlin. So you know that cassette you gave me? I wore it out. I need another copy." So I was like, that was one of the, it was just a wonderful little reconnection. That was actually one of the problems with why it took so long to make a third one, was that George died. And the writers had to deal with, you know, what do you do with Rufus? He's in the first one, he's in the second one. You know, he's clearly the, you know, he's like the master of ceremonies here. Without spoiling anything, last summer we shot the Bill and Ted's Face the Music. They're all in their middle age now, and they still haven't written a song that saves the universe. And they had to get the band back together. They had, I don't want to spoil it. but they did deal with the Rufus thing, and I was really happy that
Do they still need the makeup?
What?
Do they
Sorry?
still need the makeup?
They're not gonna need to make them. I actually, in the interim, I became allergic to makeup. And I had an awful time with makeup the second time around. But it was just great to. It's funny that when I came out to Hollywood, I started almost immediately doing these bad guy roles, you know. And so it was. I got a chance to be silly, to be funny, and it just exploded out. So anyway, questions? Anything? Yeah.
I don't know. Out of all the people you've worked with, okay, who made you the most starstruck?
I guess starstruck. I met Ginger Rogers once. I was pretty starstruck. She saw me in a play called Luxy Blues on Broadway, and I was like, Paul Newman. I've never worked with him, but he saw everything. He saw everything I've done on Broadway. Comes backstage and says, "Oh, George."
So what would you say your most favorite role is? All of the shows you've ever done. What did you have most fun doing?
This one probably. Once I got into that, once I put on the character, I couldn't shut him up. So I got making up lines. What about don't overlook my butt? It burns a lot of calories. I did that. That's me. The Reaper rap, Ride for Your King, or Little Street Sweeper.
Yeah.
They wrote a rap. They wrote a rap, but it didn't flow. I don't know. I couldn't make it funny, and I couldn't make it sound like it didn't scan. So I took a shot at it. And fun film fact. 1991, California executed a guy named Alton Harris, and the warden read his last words, and his last words were, "You might be a king or a little street sweeper. Sooner or later you dance with the Reaper," and they recognized it from the TV, and they called Orion. Orion said, "You should talk to Bill." And we did that. So there's people from the press called me up and said, "How do you feel? You wrote this guy's last words." And, I said, "Well, I hate to lose a fan under any circumstances." Kill it. I would have spent more time writing it if I knew it was going to be good, you know, important. But anyway, it was genuinely fun to play. Such a silly man. And I love that he's scary at the beginning, you know, you're supposed to be terrified of this guy. And then the facade starts to crack. And you see insecure, petulant, sore loser, who gradually wants to be part of the band. I just thought that was a really fun journey.
Is that the same type of personality you used in the third one as well?
Yeah. Oh, it's the same guy.
Yeah, same guy.
It's the same guy. It's the same character, except he's now had he's had the intervening years too.
Right.
And it hasn't gone exactly right. But I don't want to spoil that. That's August 21st. Bill and Ted Face.
Yeah.
That should get out.
Got one over here.
Yeah.
I'll keep it going.
I can't see you
Oh,
first.
oh,
Just
okay.
shout no.
I didn't want to, I wanted to try to make sure I was interrupting someone else. I was actually curious how the second cameo, like your cameo with your family occurred later in the film, like.
I asked them. I wanted. I asked the producers. I said, I had been in, like, the makeup took 3 hours to put on, so we started shooting at 7. Me and the makeup guy would be there at 4, and then he'd take 40 minutes after we're all done to take it off. Nobody had ever seen me without the makeup, so I said I wanted to be, be the checkout guy or something without the makeup, and they said, we got just the legs. There was another little moment when I was saying I can't turn it off once I get into character. In the hardware store, the guy who's smoking,
Yeah.
I go by him and say, "See you real soon." That's not in the script. I suggested to the director that night at the hardware store, and he said, "That's great. Bring the camera over here." And that's him. That's Pete Hewitt, the director, the smoker. We hadn't cast it. Yes.
What director or filmmaker that you ever worked with inspired you the most, or did you learn the most from?
I think I learned maybe the best director for acting, just purely for the craft and the art of acting, was Bill Condon in a film that I did called Kinsey. Another memorable role. It's hard to describe what he does, but every time he does a movie, someone in it gets nominated, and someone else wins Academy Awards. He takes people who can't act at all and draws it out. But I don't know. I've learned along the way a lot from actors, a lot from Morgan Freeman, people on sets. Watching how they conduct themselves, how they deal with the wait times in between shots.
What was it like to work with James Spader?
I loved it. He was lovely. He's terrific. I don't always like to work with producers or directors or other people, but he and I, it was like a listening fest. Like that. We would start the scene and it was just alive. It was like two people actually talking and listening in real time. So every take was lovely. He made it kind of effortless.
And one more question, if you don't mind. What was it like to work with Dick Miller?
Oh, in Demon Knight.
Yes, great movie.
He was fantastic. He was lovely. He's one of the, you know who Dick Miller is. He started back in the Roger Corman movies. He's the only actor I know who he played a cowboy, and he played the Indian that the cowboy killed in a Roger Corman movie where he shot himself and he fell out of a tree all by himself.
Wasn't he the first Wilhelm scream?
What?
Wasn't he the first Wilhelm scream? In that film? In that Wilhelm scream film? Yeah.
That's me.
Oh, no, I don't know. I don't know. Wait. I don't know. He was just a lovely guy. I did a film called Demon Knight with him.
And Billy Zane?
Billy Zane steals that movie. Kind of. one of the funniest things I've ever seen Billy do.
So from Die Hard 2 to Iron Man 4, what is the biggest difference you have seen within the film industry? The best and the worst.
It went to digital, for one thing. The film, the first whole half of my career was, the stunts were practical, the film was film, it was film. So, and there was something, there's something about we're rolling. We're burning film now.
More
That
pressure.
sort of, focuses the minds. Now, with digital, you can delete it, go again.
Do you feel like you were more disciplined when you were using 35mm as opposed to digital?
I'm not sure. It's not a question of discipline. It was sort of in the hands of the people who could handle. I don't know. It was more in the realm of the experts. I mean, cameramen and focus pullers, and you'd finish a day's filming and they would send it back. First movie I did, The Hot Spot. Dennis Hopper was directing. We'd shoot whatever we shot. They'd send it all back to Los Angeles from Texas, from Boston. And 2 days later, we got the footage back, and he would show it in a movie theater. And that's how you watch the dailies, to see whether you got the scene that you wanted or not. The industry is, and what happened with digital was it became much more democratic. Now, almost anyone can afford to make a film. And they do. And, festivals have popped up. All of the different outlets have occurred. It's very good. I don't know that it's for better or worse. Yeah?
Very selfish question.
Yeah.
Are we gonna see Gino Fish again?
I was saying, I just sent an email to Michael Brandman today, the guy who writes those. He's talking about the Jesse Stone movies that,
Because I heard that there was a rumor that
What's
they were
his
writing
name?
another script for the
Blues.
next one.
what is his name?
Tom Selleck?
Tom Selleck. I don't know.
Okay.
We were supposed to do one last spring and Tom Selleck was too busy.
Well, now that you're on Blue Bloods with him, I thought you might be able to kind of talk him into it.
I don't know. He likes doing those, and I do as well. I think Gino Fish is a great character player. I have more fun doing this now than I ever used to.
Someone has a question over there.
Jack.
Come on up, say hi. Actually, little dude. Little dude.
Come here, buddy. Oh no. It's a moment in the sun.
Say hi. Hello.
He's 3.5.
So how does it feel to see yourself at such a young
Oh,
age?
this is- Yes.
I was on screen for like 3 seconds, like page 5. I really don't remember a ton from that scene, except that it was like 3 in the morning. And I was just like I was that beyond
Oh, it's
tired
all
where
we
you're
can do to
like
keep her awake.
zombified. And I couldn't eat cereal in front of me because it wasn't food.
Put a tease for 5
This
minutes.
beautiful bowl of cereal in front of me.
And as I recall, when you did visit the set, it was all about craft service. It was like actors. Yeah. Where's that big spread?
I used to like to go to the set with like a lot of friends. It was really fun. He was always really indulgent.
More questions? Other questions?
What's the date? What's the date? of the movie?
August 21st, Bill and Ted Face the Music. Yeah, it should be fantastic.
Anything coming up?
For me?
Yeah.
Oh, Grudge just opened January 3rd, horror movie. There's a real John Carpenter-esque action, bloody, killing zombie, dusk till dawn thing called VFW. Opens Valentine's Day.
Not good.
Everyone's a critic.
Mr. Sadler, are any directors that you have not yet worked with that you would really like to?
Oh gosh, there's a ton of them. I guess I mean, if I got a chance to work with Scorsese, I would love to. Or I mean, I've met a lot of these gentlemen along the way. Spielberg. I keep appearing in things that they've produced, but not actually directed. I think that would be
I had went to Queens College and was dear friends with Jon Favreau, who created the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We went to Queens College back in the late early 90s, and we're still pals to this day. And he has now worked with every name in the movie industry.
Yeah.
And every time I talk to John, we used to call him, if you see him again, his nickname was Hack, because everywhere in both high school and college, he had a hacky sack with him. So his name was Hack then. And when I seen him after he had done several of the big MCU movies for the first time, I said, Hack, you gotta tell me, what was it like to work with? And he was like, what, Robert Downey, Chris Evans? I was, what was it like to meet William Sadler?
What did he say?
He thought
I
you
hear
were
he's really nice.
he produced you in Iron Man 3. Were you, I don't recall, were you in 2?
No, I was in 3.
Yeah.
As the president.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest changes too, was that when things became digital like that, you could do so much more. I'd never flown, I'd never done a giant green screen production. I played the president in Iron Man 3. And my favorite thing was fun film fact. Every time I came on the set, the crew hummed "Hail to the Chief." Just to make me feel good. And you don't actually get to wear the Iron Man outfit when you're like at one point I was trapped in
Right, when they had you tied up.
They put you in this like really tight-fitting blue underwear, with dots all over it. You look like, and when at the end when they got me hung up over a fire at the end of the movie, they did. It's the first time I done wire work. They, the harnesses and what have you, and hoist you up, 20 feet in the air. And the director's down below saying, "Okay, look to the left. Okay, they're shooting at you. Okay, you're scared. Okay." And he's looking at a monitor. He's not looking at you, right? Okay, a little higher to the left. Yeah, that's where the bad guys are. Now they're shooting again. Okay. Are they?
Well, did you talk about the difference then, or what it was like to be around those, like the robotic puppets and stuff? This one, the difference with that.
They were real guys.
There were people in there, but was it noisy, or was it, did it ever do it? Who was that?
Well, Vern Troyer was one of the two little station guys. He was one of them. He just passed. He was mini. He was one of the two little station guys.
Were they noisy? Were their faces noisy?
You mean the mechanical guys?
Yeah, the mechanics of it.
The hydraulics.
They were. I mean, there's no hydraulics on those things. They were all of those, the sound of those electric motor sounds they added later.
Right. No, I mean like the faces of. You might explain.
They have noisy faces.
Well, it's puppets, there's
Yeah, the
lines that go through them, and there's air that's opening up, so you hear.
Oh, yeah. They have to cut, yeah, they cut all that stuff
Yeah,
out
they
later.
pump
You have
in
to-
all the sound later when they're going, oh, you know, like, they're not making that sound, you know, they're pumping all that in later, right?
Right.
But you have to act next.
But you have to act.
Yeah.
Right.
Making noises. I did, I spent my whole childhood running around the farm where I grew up, with a BB gun and diving out of a hayloft, coming up shooting and doing these, you know, making up big long scenarios for hours and hours and hours with my friend down the road. And on the set of Die Hard 2, there's a scene where Colonel Stewart and his guys are all in front of the nose cone of a plane. And Bruce Willis is in the plane and they unload all these automatic weapons, right? Like half a dozen of us, and then grenades. And and they're real weapons, and they're real blanks in the weapons. So they're really, with real flame and smoke and brass is flying everywhere. We got the first, it's deafening. Did the first take, and the sound guy came over to me and he took me aside. He's very sweet about it. He said, you don't have to make that sound with your mouth. Because apparently, in the first take, Colonel Stewart stood there going, that's exactly the way I do it. And to this day, I do that. Oh! Actors making noise. Gene Wilder once said something to me. I have one tiny seed in Hanky Panky. Hanky Panky. He comes in and I'm the desk clerk at the hotel. And you can't see my hands, I'm behind the counter. And he says, what's her name? Is she staying at the hotel? I say, let me check. And the late great Gene Wilder said, yes?
What was it like to work with multi-talented Steven Seagal?
I don't know, how much time you got? The audition, he jumped across the desk and pinned my head to the wall, just to see if I could drop out of character. Okay. There are so many stories. There's a scene we're shooting at the zoo, the LA Zoo, and we started along a fence, and there's a moat, and then the chimps enclosure. There's all these monkeys behind us. The camera's here, and we're here, and the chimps are all over there. And on the second take, I hear this, incoming! And apparently they had all decided what they felt about the movie. Took a dump and threw it at once, and it was raining chimp dew.
I guess again, everyone's a critic.
Everybody's a critic. No, he was impressive. I think he lives in Russia now. We had to go back and reshoot the end of Hard to Kill, because it used to end the ending that he wrote. He takes me, I'm in a white bathrobe, as I recall, and I took a swing at him with a fireplace poker, and he throws me into a fireplace, and puts his foot on me and burns me to death. They filmed that, and apparently they showed it to the producers and Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers said you can't end the movie that way. You can't be the hero and kill the guy that way. Steven. We need to get rid of him a different way. He's got to be arrested. So we all got back together for one day of filming in this big house where it's supposed to be my house. But they hadn't from the moment where I swing the poker to when they take me off in handcuffs, something has to happen to me. And the director said, well, I think you should be humiliating. You should, like, I don't know, just grab his arm and maybe like, slam him against the floor and then kick him in the ribs, banging his head against them. And Seagal's, no, I'm gonna grab him by the toes, kick him in the balls, and break his back over my knee. And I'm standing there in a white bathrobe. I had just become a vegetarian. I was thinner even. I'm listening to this going, this is gonna suck. Wow, is this gonna suck? But they got in a big fight. Bruce Malmuth, the director of Seagal took off for his trailer. And I said to the producers, I had this idea. I said, he's got this sawed-off shotgun. Why doesn't he, like, just have it drop out of sight, out of frame? And my character was, no, hey, come on, no, please, boom! And he didn't, right? And then he could say something like, and Nick can say this. And then he can say something like, oh, he must be smaller than I thought. Some humiliating big joke, right? The director loved it. Producers love it. They said, but who's going to tell Steven? Because if it comes from Bruce Malmuth, he'll hate it. So they asked me to go tell him. I told them, bring the shoot. We shot it, and that's the way the film ended. So there. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I have one more question.
Yes.
Was there ever a famous role that you auditioned for that you didn't get, that you were so disappointed? I know when you don't get a role, you're disappointed.